Hey dudes and dudettes, thanks for tuning into this episode of the Be Kind and Rewind podcast. A podcast chock full of everything that is nostalgic about the 80s, 90s, and more, where we chat with our favorite celebrities about our nostalgic VHS and TV dinner days. This episode, I'm joined by a man who you've witnessed in more movies, animation, and TV shows than you'll ever realize, to the point where if we could probably spend the rest of the podcast just listing off his IMDb credits. So, I welcome character actor extraordinaire, Richard Kind.
Thank you very much, and you're absolutely right, because I start looking at people tell me, oh, I saw you in this and this, and I swear to God, I don't remember. And since we're talking about those early days, when I was a kid, I was a waiter out in the Hamptons, and I'm waiting on Mary Tyler Moore.
Ooh, now this is the Mary Tyler Moore show time, right?
No, it was after. It had to be after. But I mean, it was. Oh my God, I don't know. No, it was. I think it was after. And what I used to do is, when I was an actor in New York, a young actor, I'd like wait tables, and then I'd get home at around 1:30, and at 2 to 3:30 in the morning, on Channel 4 were 3 episodes in a row of Mary Tyler Moore show. And I would watch them every night. And I actually blame her for me not being more successful, because if I went to bed at 3:30, it means I woke up at like 11 or whatever. So I should have been up at 7, pounding the pavements. In any case, I would watch those 3 episodes, and then I would unplug my TV and put it away in the closet, because I would have to make an effort. I couldn't just come home and turn on the TV. So in any case, that's what I did. So I'm waiting tables on her. This is a few years after. And I knew the Mary Tyler Moore show and Dick Van Dyke show like ridiculously. I knew every episode. And I asked her about such and such, and she goes, I'm sorry, I don't remember that show, that episode, whatever. And I would look at her like,
how can you not remember? Yeah, how could you not remember? Yeah. It's classic.
You're lying to me. I love you, and you're lying. And she said, I'm sorry, I just don't. And then now, you ask me about an episode of something or a show that I even did. Not just an episode, a TV show that I might have been on. I don't remember.
So it's going to be like the nerds at like Comic-Cons come up to you. In episode 3 of season 4 of Spin City, you did this.
Exactly. Here's the killer, is that sometimes those people give me logical questions about, why did this happen if you said that you were born in New Jersey, and then in another episode they said you're born in Oklahoma. I go, I don't know. Like, I don't remember. I just did. I don't think of those things.
You're like, maybe you can look up the writer. You can ask the writer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Well, Richard, it's an honor to be in the presence of a man who's responsible for causing me to sob uncontrollably during Inside Out. So, not to give anything away, proud. But yes, thank you. I wore those tears proud while it happened. So like I said, it's an honor. But kind of getting right into it, I've seen you've done some podcasts over the last few years. Kind of have podcasting has been a little more popular. Seen you do some with some friends, some comedians, and so it always seems that like you, among other actors, are a little more comfortable in the podcast setting than like the natural or traditional interview junket kind of interview. So from your experience.
Really?
That's what I feel. I think I see like a little more relaxation or maybe more candid type of an interview. So from your experience, what is the worst part about the traditional interview, like junket type of, interview process for promotions?
Well, the worst thing in the junkets, because do a lot of the people who listen to you know about junkets and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would hope the audience is well informed with the press junket. For shortly, it's just promotionals for a movie.
I don't know. I never knew it when I was growing up. But if you go out on a press junket, they'll give 10 minutes to a newspaper or to a radio station or to a magazine, and they come in and they talk to you for 10 minutes. Well, the first question is always going to be the same. What's it like to work with Michael J. Fox? What's it like to work with the Coen Brothers? How many times can you make that interesting? How many times can you make a challenge? And famous people with power will say, you know what? Really don't want to. I'll do Esquire. I'll do People. I'll do Vanity Fair. Otherwise, don't give me Joe Schmo from Podunk, Iowa.
So like Brad Pitt wouldn't want me in his junket just being like, so Brad, like what was it like doing this and that? He's like, I need Esquire here.
Well, yes and no. The other thing is that he knows he has a responsibility to the studio and to the film and to his producers to say, I got to do, for 10 minutes, and they just keep coming another one after another, their own voice, and have to be making the same jokes, and they're asking the same questions. I don't know. So I'm sitting at a bar with a beer, and we're talking, and I got this story, I got this story. Otherwise, it's boring.
Well, then for the press junkets too, you kind of have to be censored to some degree. And then I've heard that also when some celebrities get a little, when they keep redundant hearing the same questions over, they start making up some stories or making those stories tweaking them a little bit just to entertain themselves. Wow. Did that ever happen?
I have never done that. I should. That would be fun.
I think that's the new angle.
Yeah, but here's the stupidest question in the world. When somebody comes up to you and says, "What are you working on?" Okay, and you give them an answer. Well, it hasn't been released. They don't know what it is. It has nothing. I mean, Inside Out is a great movie, but for a year I talked about Inside Out and people didn't know what it was. So I just say I'm working on Godfather 2.
This is like a bad icebreaker. It's like it breaks the silence but doesn't go anywhere.
I guess you're right, and I should have more patience. However, by the way, you're frozen on my phone.
Uh-oh.
But I'm not being affected. Am I affected?
No. I think our videos might be a little lagged, but the audio is still coming through. So we're still pushing strong with the audio. So yeah,
well, people don't have to look at me anyway.
Hey, as long the less they see my face, I think it works as well. So
and back at me, the same with me.
But
anyway, you're voices. Right. It is an icebreaker, and yes, but I just say I used to try and answer honestly and say this is what I'm doing, and they don't know now. I'm doing a show called, have you ever heard of the show Red Oak?
Oh, I was going to get into it. I've binge watched all the first 2 seasons. No problem.
Aren't they great?
Oh, I love it. My wife got me
wonderful.
into it.
Now, 6 people in the world know that Red Oaks is on. Nobody knows it exists. And it's a good show.
That's a shame.
I think it's a good show. Nobody knows it's on. And so that one, I got to explain to people. I go up, literally, I get this nowadays. You still acting? Are you still acting? And
we have IMDb on our phones. They could do a quick confirmation before they try to ruin your day.
But anyway, so that's what it is. Anyway, ask me some questions.
Yeah, so just kind of get into it. Like before you graced our eyes in the presence of multiple media, you started out in Second City out in Chicago. And of course, people who not too familiar with Second City, it's this another prominent improv establishment out in Chicago for decades now, and it's kind of like the proving ground and source of talent for Saturday Night Live and SCTV. So what was like?
Well, SCTV was Second City TV.
That's true.
Saturday Night, Second City for 40 to 50 years was the only animal of its type. If you wanted to make a living doing improvisation, you went to Second City. It's a cheap form of entertainment, and therefore it's easy to start up because what's your overhead? A chair?
Mm-hmm.
And
maybe a couple socks. Yeah.
Right. So all of a sudden, in Chicago, there were other improv troupes. And then because of that, then there was one that may have opened in New York, and then another in New York, and then they say, well, we'll go to L.A. So all of a sudden, Groundlings opened, and can you see me burp? I just burped.
It's all right.
But I held it in, but I had club soda.
I might match it later, so we'll see.
Upright Citizens Brigade.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So all of a sudden, the anti-establishment company is truly the establishment, and it's grandpa's jokes, and they were the cutting edge. They really were, and they are the people who started Saturday Night Live. But who out of Second City is on Saturday Night Live now? I have no idea. Who from Upright Citizens Brigade, from UBC, or or UCB or Groundlings, I think it's only made up of those people.
Yeah, they used to tout it. They used to tout like who came from where. It used to be a big deal. It's like, oh, we have so many people from this this improv studio, this people from this city. Like it was a big thing. But yeah, you're right. I don't really hear too much. I'm sure there are people from different improv groups. I just don't really hear about it.
Now, I will tell you one other thing. There was a time when Lorne Michaels had started, and he is the genius behind Saturday Night Live. It's been established now, literally, for, what is it, 40 years?
Yeah.
I think it is.
Like 80? Was it like 80 when it started, or right before that?
No, it's before that, because I was in college. Who knows? Anyway, it was, okay, let's say 1980. So he was the genius behind it, but there were some people who, after 25, 30 years, were saying, you know what? It was Second City. Second City was the genius behind Saturday Night Live. So when he recast the show, back and we ever saw ran it, and Gene Dumanian. Then when he came back, he purposefully hired no Second City people so that he would have you
want to keep his all-stars.
Yeah, the sole ownership of the invention.
Mm-hmm.
And he is the sole owner of that invention. But he did go out, and his farm team were graduates of Second City. Then he got only Groundlings people. And now he gets UCB. I mean, it's great people. But when you look at Tina Fey was queen of Second City when she was there, and Colbert and Carell. I mean, I'm naming people who weren't on SNL, but they were leaders at.
I mean, they've done their own in their own right. So yeah, no, it definitely is a great way to pave your way. And like you said, there's the troops there, like people who work in the group setting. So when people start getting, snagged for SCTV to go on air or SNL, like what was like the atmosphere where people knew like, okay, someone might get selected out of our group? Was there like that competitive atmosphere within, or is it more like supportive? Everyone's like, I just can't wait till you get a chance, kind of a thing.
Oh Christ, no! Oh my God,
the opposite.
No,
not the latter.
Everybody's out in this business. Everybody's out for themselves. I mean, they may say, "Oh, I hope you win the award. I hope you win the award," and they do not. They don't mean a word of it.
They want you to trip on the way to picking up the award.
Actually, yes. Now it's with Second City or with SNL. When Franken and Davis did come to Second City and to look for the new troupe, and they didn't take anybody. And there was nobody. Now, out of all the people at Second City, they didn't take one. So that's how we sort of knew that Lorne was making a statement. And therefore, I was on the receiving end of that prejudice. But he got some great people. He got some good people. And then he got some great people. Later on, Will Ferrell and some other people. There's always competition. But the competition is healthy.
Yeah, it drives you.
Yeah, it does drive you. You get ambition. If you go in for an audition, there's usually only one winner, and it's nice to be a winner. And therefore, honest to God, I hope for the success of other people. I really do.
So we're gonna forget the statement from a minute and a half ago, right? We're going to forget the statement that no one from Second City want anyone to succeed, right?
But that's not
just
what I was going to say is I really want people to succeed.
Of course.
I want me to succeed more, but I really want them to succeed. I'm a good guy. I don't need them to fail in order for me to be more successful. But I would like to be more successful.
Exactly. Well, like I said, you enough to give the support, but enough to have that drive to beat the people you're trying to support. So
yeah,
as long as you're not negative about it.
They often what it's Second City when we were doing a scene, you'd want to get more laughs sometimes than the other guy, but sometimes you just want the scene to become good, and that's really important too. But you always want to be the funniest. To what comedian doesn't want to be the funniest?
Sometimes I try too hard.
What model doesn't want to be the prettiest? I've had to put up with that for years.
Well, you have how many? Going back, how many? You have some kids now. How many kids do you have?
I have a 15-year-old who is my kids are great.
Mhm.
They're delightful. They're great. They're funny. And I have boy and girl twins,
Okay,
and
nice.
they're 12. They're 12. And my son is like almost. He's 12 years old. He takes 11 and a half shoe. He's
That's
enormous.
big. I'm barely rocking a 10 and a half, 11, so he's
I
already
know. Tell you, I
got
take an
me.
11. He's 12 and a half, and I think he's 5'10" already. He's just enormous.
At 11 years old, you better start getting a basketball in that kid's hands.
I know, and he refuses to play, but all of a sudden he's starting to like it.
Maybe volleyball. Maybe volleyball is his game. You never know.
Whatever, whatever. Yeah.
Whatever works. That's right. That's right. Well, kind of going back to Second City real quick before we move on to the next singles.
Yes, enough about the kids. Please,
Those
no
kids
more.
are going to be around for a while,
Let's just talk about me. Please just talk.
Let's talk about the diva in the room. So going back to Second City. So was there anybody there? Of course, a lot of people in and out who've made it nowadays in Hollywood to some degree. Was there anybody there you're like you were never gonna make it, and all of a sudden you saw him on a show or movie? You're like, wow.
No. Let me tell you something, and this is hilarious that I really felt this way, and you must understand, I really, really felt this way. I would go see Tina Fey and Colbert and Steve Carell. And they were superior. They were absolutely superior. And I would say, how are they going to make it in LA? I don't know how they're going to do. And then I would see Will Ferrell on Saturday, who I didn't know at all. I'd see him on Saturday Night Live. I'd go, he is so good. How is he going to make it in the movies? How is he going to make that jump? Needless to say, I am wrong at every turn. Every turn. I used to have my finger on the pulse of popular culture rating. I got nothing. I'll tell you when I really, really didn't know popular culture at all is I was the first. No, I'll back up. No, I was the first one to win $1 million on. No, my character, Paul Lassiter, was the first person to ever win $1 million on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Okay?
With good old Regis.
With Regis, way back when it first started out. And let's say the show started out in September. I went and saw it early on because we were going to do, my character was going to go on. It was going to be a tie-in with ABC, and my character wins the money. So I went there early, and I saw the show. And I said, this is the worst show I've ever seen. Jeopardy is a good show. In Jeopardy, you have 6 categories with 5 answers. You got 30 questions per every 12 minutes, right? That's a quiz show. Who Wants to Be a Millionaire has 6 questions every 15 minutes, maybe. And I said, it's nuts. It's just a lot of lights and screaming and interviews, and it's boring, and it's 6 questions. It's
and the questions are like, what's Britney Spears' latest album name? You're like, what?
Right, but even when they got hard, it wasn't that. It's who's going to sit for 3 questions for 15 minutes, 6 questions a show. I didn't understand it.
They just want to build that anxiety,
Well, I
was guess.
Wrong. I was really wrong.
But it didn't flaw. It didn't flaw Paul.
Really. What'd you say?
I said it didn't flaw Paul. He made it, right?
Paul, that was in the script, but I'm saying Richard Kind went and saw. I have no conception about popular culture nowadays. But then I really was around when I was laughing that Donald Trump would even have a chance for the nomination, much less president. I mean, I have no finger on the pulse of this country, whatever. I have no idea.
It is crazy, the dynamic, like you said. Like you said, the dynamic of comedy has changed dramatically since like the early 2000s when Will Ferrell and those guys graduated or got out of SNL and started making their own movies. Like the way comedy with the movies were coming out were a little bit different than the early 90s.
You know what? Yes and no, but you misunderstood. I thought just their talent, their look, there's no place for them. I didn't know where they were going to be able to fit in.
Okay.
I was wrong. It wasn't the type of comedy. No. They weren't just good. They were brilliant back then. They were young, brilliant kids. They were kids, and they were brilliant, and they were very funny. In fact, too funny for America. I think they did change a little bit, but they were great. And I just thought I just didn't know where they would fit in.
Yeah, and I guess that's just another thing, like we talked, maybe not comedy, but just the way things have, people are accepted, or the way the looks are accepted, I guess, nowadays for certain
You want to
types.
hear? This is something that's amazing that I really do remember. And I don't. My guess is that your audience is very young, who's listening to this because it's podcast. But Farrah Fawcett used to have a very, very famous poster.
Oh yes.
And Arnold Schwarzenegger came out with a poster around the time of him flexing or whatever. And he said, I will be more popular or more famous than Farrah Fawcett. And at the time, I thought in my head, you muscle-headed idiot.
It's like John Lennon saying the Beatles are bigger than Jesus.
Exactly. I mean, but this was Schwarzenegger saying he was going to be more popular than Farrah Fawcett Majors at the time. It was Farrah Fawcett Majors. I just said, you're an idiot. I'm saying this on your podcast.
Arnold, if you're listening, it still stands.
I was wrong. I was tremendously, tremendously wrong. And I'm the type of guy, as you can tell by the way that I talk, that everything I say isn't just right. It's smarter than everybody else.
It's got that intellect behind it.
Yes. However, deep in here, I know that I'm an idiot. But
fake it till you make it.
But nevertheless, I still talk like I know everything, and I can be pompous. It's awful. It's awful the way that I talk. However, when you have children, you can talk as pompous as anything, and they don't know you're stupid.
Well, maybe
they just don't know.
It's just a lot of practice, and it just folds over into real life and other life. And you're like, I guess this is how I'm going to talk to people for the rest of my life.
Well, it is how I talk to people. The only thing is, my kids are forced to listen because they're my children. Sooner or later, they'll grow smart and they'll just say, Dad, I'm leaving. I'm getting out.
They can leave in the middle of the conversation.
I can't take you anymore. Well, and it's going to happen very, very soon.
We'll enjoy the time while it lasts until that time comes, I guess.
You're right.
So you mentioned good old Paul Lassiter. So in the 90s, of course, you appeared, starred, and guest starred in many roles, but one of the favorite ones, of course, is Spin City, playing the original Sean Spicer as press secretary.
Yeah.
Paul Lassiter.
Will there be some kind of memorial service for Garfield?
Yes. Yes. The ex-mayor will be honored and remembered for his years of public service.
Now, will Mayor Winston be delivering a eulogy at the memorial?
Yes and no. Let me just clarify that. Yes, the mayor will be speaking. But then again, maybe he won't. Who knows? Right now, the only thing that we can say is that ex-Mayor Garfield is, in fact, still dead.
With this,
I know.
So yeah, so kind of look. I was watching some clips, and this is like, man, it's crazy how things have paralleled at this point. So kind of getting into it with the current political climate, and what are your thoughts looking back at the commentary of the show and how now we basically are parallel in reality? What is that like, especially with your character and watching Sean Spicer up on TV?
I'll tell you something. That's really interesting because I haven't thought about it at all. Barry Bostwick played. I talk about everything, and and not a, I'm semi-joking. There's a tongue-in-cheek, but Barry Bostwick played an idiot mayor, somebody who had no clue about being mayor, and the whole thing is that Michael J. Fox took the reins and cleaned up and ran the city. Mayor got the credit. Michael J. Fox cleaned up.
Mm-hmm.
Michael J. Fox was the Steve Bannon role, or the Sessions role, or even Jared Kushner. Who knows?
He's more Ivanka, maybe.
What I'm saying is that I believe that look, you're going to get me talking politics, and your audience really doesn't want to hear about that.
Sorry,
I think as somebody once said, is that we are dealing with the president who it's like looking in a jar of fireflies. We don't know what the hell is going on. It's just the man's not an idiot. I do believe that when it comes to the job that he has now, he's an idiot. I believe that when it comes to self-promotion and marketing of his product, like the properties, things like that, he's quite adept. I wouldn't call him a genius because that's wrong, but he's really adept at it. He's really adept at being the Donald Trump that I don't like, but he's good at it. And America bought into that. But running a country is a different thing. And I think there are people who are Michael J. Fox sweeping up the shit that Trump or Barry Bostwick left in there. And the only thing is that the consequences of this man who recklessly makes decisions, that Paris Accord is just a reckless decision, and he refuses to read about it. And so there are consequences that aren't just, traffic stopped, on a bridge or whatever it is that the country's in peril. And yes, I was Sean Spicer. I think of Sean Spicer a little bit. I don't think of him as Melissa McCarthy has imitated him. I don't think of Sean Spicer that way. But he blindly defends the president, which is what I did on Spin City. So there really are parallels to how to deal with a dumb leader when he's not leading.
Yeah, like it,
and so it really was.
It was definitely interesting because it's been a while since I've seen the show, and I watched it off and on when I was younger, but of course I was younger at the time, so not really understanding maybe some of the political humor or some of the things, the commentaries that were going on. And then now, of course, like looking at our reality and then going back and watching some clips, it is crazy, like you said. It's just like how often that happens. Like you guys were talking about that, it's been happening 50 years before that continuously, and it's still going on to this day. It's just like we're never going to get out of this like little cycle of smarter people looking out for the leaders, something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah, but the thing is, this country has had great leaders, whether it be the president or people in the Senate. I don't believe the people in the Senate right now, the Republicans, the GOP is incompetent, but I really do believe they have to question their patriotism and what's best for this country, as opposed to what's best for this party and for their party and for getting reelected, all in the name of maybe lower taxes. I just don't understand it. I used to question, why would anybody living in America want to be a terrorist? I couldn't understand it. Why would they want to destroy what they have in their backyard? I can understand people overseas wanting to do it. I could never understand why somebody living at home would want to destroy what they're surrounded by. I hate to say it, Donald Trump has woken me up, and those people, I sort of understand it. I now understand it. I certainly don't condone it.
Yeah, no, those are those small revelations. Yeah, where you're like, man, I kind of understand that person.
But I think 51% of me doesn't understand it. But Jesus, for 49% of me to say, I guess when you're being persecuted, tortured, whatever it is, or these values don't jive, I understand their dissatisfaction. But let me go on record. Not for a second do I condone it, but I don't condone a lot of what's going on in America today.
Yeah, it is surprising. It is one of those things that even myself, like I try to stay, neutral in some areas before, like this last year politically, but it is hard to justify anything that's going on. And so seeing the reactions, like any normal politician beforehand would have been out of office, arrested, something would have happened. You'd think something more would have happened just from the normal behavior or the abnormal behavior, but it just seems like our president just keeps getting away with any and everything, and
it's shocking.
We don't know when it's going to stop.
We really don't know. And I'll tell you, I live in New York City, and they say I live in a bubble. We do. And I believe that the people in the middle of this country live in a gigantic bubble. And I am really proud of the bubble that I am in. A lot of smart people live in this bubble. And my friend George Clooney used to say, when did the word liberal become a negative thing?
Yeah.
And I'm really liberal. I like liberal to me means giving. You know, I'll also tell you one other thing is that the word conservative, when I look at these people that say make America great again, they're people who don't know how to use the internet. That what was great was Reagan. And that was the 80s. And he had that slogan. If you see Get Me Roger Stone, you see Reagan saying, make America great again. This was their slogan. They are truly conservative, and they're trying to conserve what they used to have. I'm conservative because I don't understand the internet. I don't understand these kids with their long hair. Liberal, and I try and see it. They want to go back to a time where before we had evolved politically. Is this what you really want to talk about?
Hey, we went down the rabbit hole. We're in it, but just kind of maybe slowly making our way out. I know, yeah, like it's just very interesting, and it is one of those, like, we're going to be doing a lot of reactionary stuff, but at one point, when is the reactionary stuff going to turn into some solution to stop whatever is happening, to make a change? But like I said, that's another conversation for another day. Like I said, I just know that watching Spin City, like just seeing the parallels from a over 20-year difference and how everything's almost the exact same is just,
it's really nuts.
Yeah, it is
now,
crazy.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
In between the edge of your chair and the sliding door way behind you is what I think is a dog or a cat.
My little cat Stella back here. She likes to visit during the podcast.
Lying there, and I thought it was like a T-shirt, and then it started moving, and I'm going, oh my god, and you have two cats.
No, just one. She got the mirror reflection up there.
Oh, okay, and it's a black cat.
Oh yeah, little Stella.
Okay.
So
we had a Bernese Mountain Dog named Bella.
Oh, nice.
That we had to put down very recently. But let's go on to happier things.
Well, I was just gonna pivot. I know you just mentioned George Clooney, so at one point,
don't like to talk a lot about George.
We won't. We'll keep it brief.
A lot of press.
We'll keep it brief. Then the man's well known for being among Hollywood A-list, global politics, philanthropy, but most importantly, practical joker. And I know there's a story or two.
Not going to talk about it, but he's the greatest.
Yes, I know.
He's like Machiavelli.
I've heard like many stories, he's got like a whole like book basically there online with people of things George Clooney has done. Like one thing I read was on ER, Steven Spielberg had gifted everybody Miatas for a movie he had just done, but then for ER gave everybody cell phones. So George Clooney convinced Noah Wiley to write a letter to Spielberg thanking him for the Miata, and to cross out the word Miata and put cell phone right next to him. So I guess Noah Wiley never got a Christmas gift again after that. So
he did it. Did he really? Oh, that's
I think George Clooney convinced him that he was going to send a note too, but he didn't. So of course, classic George. So well, then we don't have to get into any practical pranks or anything, but you guys worked together a few times after you had done like a few things together as well, like the Bennett brothers. But he was like director for Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, and then executive producer for Unscripted. So did you guys have the same rapport, or was it like, more professional at that point?
You mean on set?
Yeah, or just around each other. Have you kept in contact? I imagine you guys are pretty good friends after you first met and things like that.
Oh yeah. But no, when I got to admit, because I wasn't in either one for very long, doing very much, I did not treat him with the respect a director should be treated with. I just treated him as a friend. It's
all right. I'm sure he deserved after and all the things he probably pulled on you years previous. So it was well deserved. Right. So moving on from George, among your other roles, one of my favorites is the bathroom magazine contaminator, the no double up on the same meal guy, and the admirer.
What? Wait, but hold on. What?
I'll start over. My favorite one is the bathroom magazine contaminator, the no double up on the same meal in the same day, and the admirably obnoxious Cousin Andy on HBO's Curb Your Enthusiasm.
So what's for dinner?
Turkey.
No, I had turkey for lunch.
Oh, well,
It's all right. It's okay.
I'm gonna go check on that turkey.
I'll take whatever you have.
Thank you, Matt.
Bad call, huh? Turkey
Sorry.
for lunch.
Well, who knew? I didn't know.
Yeah, you doubled up.
Okay, but explain the reference that you eloquently
So
said.
the bathroom magazine contaminators. When the episode you were with Larry, you took the magazine from his nightstand over to the bathroom, and then you brought it back out, put it right back on, and Larry's like, "What the hell's you doing? Putting the magazine back on my nightstand with his contaminated hands?" And so Larry, of course, freaks out about that one.
I barely remember.
See, of course, you go into, you got so deep, you forget these things. And then you wouldn't eat. You had, I think, turkey one day the same at lunch, and his wife comes in. We're making turkey.
Yes.
He's like, "Oh, I already had it for lunch."
Yes, I even remember the gesture. It's okay. Yes, I remember the gesture.
Very well. And so I guess
I love it.
out of how Andy's behavior and things like that, were there any aspects of his characteristics or behavior that you're like, I do this in real life? Andy is supposed to do this for Andy as a obnoxious, but I do this in real life.
Yes, I'll tell you. I do go. I love going on Sunday afternoons. Where are you, in Denver?
Denver, Colorado.
Okay, well, there in LA, there are open houses usually from like 1 to 4 or 2 to 5. I love going to open houses. I love it, and Larry had no idea.
Mm-hmm.
But if I have nothing to do on a Sunday, I always have something to do now. Or did in LA because I'm a big golfer.
Well, those LA open houses are another level.
Going to. Oh, what? I think you went out.
Oh, I'm still here. Can you hear me?
Now I can hear you.
Okay.
You go to open houses. If a house is for sale and a realtor's there, and from 2 to 5 you go in and you just walk around the house. You see how they decorate it. You see what it looks like and how it is. I don't know why, but I love that. I don't like antiquing. I hate clothes shopping. I like looking at houses. That was very funny that he made that an aspect of my character, and I just said, Harry, I do like doing that. That's hilarious. So,
well, hell, I guess on those days that you got to do the open house for Andy, that was just a two for one. You got to enjoy an open house personally, and then for the character.
Wait, open house for
Andy? If Andy ever got to do the open house, it's a 2-for-1. Personally, you get to enjoy it, and then Andy gets to do it for the character.
Absolutely.
Well, so
yes,
during
actor meets character, which happens more often than not. I'm not that versatile.
Hey, it's been
my actor and my actor always.
It's been working flawlessly. I think you're going to be okay. So while shooting Curb Your Enthusiasm, I know during Seinfeld, Larry, then they were back and forth on like how strict they were with improvising and being on the script. So what was it like? Was it more script or improvising on that?
Well, they're very strict on it because there's no dialogue.
Yeah.
You know what? You're going in and out. So you say what you.
I can still hear you at this point pretty clearly.
Okay. I can just see your mouth. I only see your mouth move. But that's not. You know what? I'll make up a question. Even though I can't hear you, I will make up a question, or make up an answer to a question.
Perfect.
I was never on Seinfeld. I was hired for Seinfeld, and I asked to be fired. It's a long story, and I was fired. I asked to be fired. I wasn't right for the character, and I was fired. However, that's a scripted show. I don't know how much improvising they did on that show. On Larry's show, there is no script. However, such a finely detailed scenario of what's going to happen, and maybe even a line of dialogue about a joke. For instance, I like, you want to go look at houses, at open houses, something like that. But everything is, and the word, and the proper word, is improvised, not ad-libbed, not just made up. It's improvised. And improvisation is not standing in front of a microphone and spouting off words. It's setting up a scenario, something that's going to take place, and how would each character react in that situation. And you really have to delve into what that character is like and what he would say. And for instance, it was very easy for me to get excited about going to visit
the open house.
A house. However, when I was ordering the crispy onions, I would not have ordered crispy onions because Richard Kind would have wanted to get out to the course and just bring me some orange juice and coffee and let's get out of here. You got to make up that you are a nudgy relative who wants to get the right meal. As a matter of fact, he just said, order something. All of that stuff about the crispy onions. Okay, you want to know where actor and what do you call it? And character meet? I know what kind of omelet I'll order. I go to a restaurant. I want an omelet with mushrooms, onions, tomato, and cheese. And I like a lot of spinach. That's how I order an omelet. You want to make an omelet for me?
Solid omelet.
That's what I like in an omelet. So we had to say, I want mushrooms, onions, tomatoes, and the onions, I need them to be crispy. If you could cook them on the side, if you could grill them and make them crispy, and therefore it would take more time. That's how that evolved. Larry, there was nothing in the script. I had no idea what I was going to order. I just ordered like Richard Kind would, and then went from there.
Nice, cool. Well, I watching all season. They got a new season coming out in October. Are you?
I know.
Is Andy going to be making any appearance? All right. Well, there's still
no, and it's funny because when Jeff Garland's one of my best friends.
Love him on Goldberg's.
He's great everywhere.
And everything as well. Yes.
Yeah. In fact, we both play fathers of the '80s right now.
Oh yeah, that's. I didn't even put that two together. Yeah. Nice.
So they were looking for somebody to play Cousin Andy, and Jeff brought my name up. According to Jeff, Larry thought that I was too famous at the time. And I certainly could have argued with him, and I could have shown him that I wasn't famous at all.
You had the documents to argue the case.
Yes, believe me, I absolutely just walked down the street. Nobody knows my name. But he thought that I was too famous. And everybody who he had guesting on the show who was famous came on as themselves. The one exception was Ed Asner, because in the episode his character dies. So he was not Ed Asner, but Ted Mary Steenburgen and Ted who's Sam in Taxi. It's just because I'm old. You're young.
Not Ted. Now I can. Yeah.
He's Becker. He was. Who is it?
Ted Danson.
Ted Danson.
That's right. I was like, it was on the tip of my tongue.
Plays himself. All these people, these famous people, play themselves. And he thought that I was too famous and couldn't play it. Jeff did convince him otherwise, and so I did get the part. Now, at the time, Curb Your Enthusiasm wasn't even a cult hit. It was nothing. And so when they asked me, I'm going, yeah, sure, I'll do it. And I wanted to do it because I love Larry.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's brilliant. I mean, Seinfeld, and I happen to like him. I had played golf with him. And Jeff is one of my dear friends. So, yeah, of course, yes. Of course I'll do it. And then they want me back again. And it wasn't a cult even then. Yes, I'll do it again. Then they wanted me for an episode, and I couldn't do it because I was working. And I was really upset because I really wanted to be another part of Curb Your Enthusiasm. It started getting popular.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's the new season. And you and every other schmuck who I pass says, oh, you're on the new season?
Season 9, no.
No, I'm not. Now I care. And back then I didn't care. Am I upset? No, but I care. And I would have liked to have done it. But I'm not doing it.
But the legend of Andy will always continue. It will always be there.
By the way, how many episodes do you think I did of the show?
Was it, I would say, probably like a handful, like 5 or 6, or is it way more than that?
I did 4, and one of them was a double episode. One was a 2-parter.
And the thing is, too, those are more memorable ones. I just remember the little things that you did, like I said, with the magazine. And those parts are just like the most memorable for me. So for whatever reason,
the Black Swan episode is the funniest half hour of TV I've ever done. That it just killed me. But that's like I don't know how old you are, but young people in their 20s,
around the 32 age here. So
okay,
mid 80s, baby.
Did you watch Scrubs?
Oh yes.
Okay, I get people stopping me your age. I love you on Scrubs. That's where they know me from. They know me from Scrubs. 2 episodes. I did 2 episodes of Scrubs. That's where people know me.
Well, that's just a testament to your performance. You know, you're standing out.
Isn't it though?
How do you take it? I guess you're just like, thanks for.
It's not a testament that who the hell knows? I don't know.
You just got it's just something about you is memorable, I guess.
But it's like me going back to Mary Tyler Moore. It's funny what I remember, what was important to me, and you never know what's important to the person who's watching the show. And I really mean that. It's very. I am very jaded now, but you got to understand. I also hate this thing that we're using right now, my cell phone. Anybody who wants to can take a picture of you, and they don't even have to know what you've done. Okay? It used to be, if they would meet you, oh gosh, can I have your autograph? I wish I had a camera. I do have a camera. I'm going to have to pay money to have this thing developed. I am wasting one of 16 or 18 pictures on the roll so that I can have a picture with you. Now it's chat, and it's
or they don't get the right selfie. They're like, oh wait, stay here. Let's take like 3 more. Yeah. Like, I'm done.
Yeah, and as they're taking it, they're going, "What have I seen you on? What do you do? What show are you famous?" It kills me.
That's when you just put the hand on the side of the face for the picture.
Oh,
on their face.
Wait. Say it again. The communication was bad.
That's when they're doing that during the selfie, you just put your hand on their face and just kind of walk away. So the selfie is you walking away disgusted in their own picture.
Yes, but however, that picture goes out to millions of people through social media, and Richard Kind is a dick.
That's true. You never know.
I know.
It could be the little teenager has 300,000 followers, and you're just like, oh man, that means people just saw that happen.
Yeah. Fuck Richard Kind with this little girl, with this little 14-year-old girl, and
it's a sad truth.
You do it once and you're caught. It's terrible. Now, I am a nice guy, so it usually doesn't happen. But the day is going to come where I will have my child will have gotten a D on a test, and I'm upset. And some girl comes by and wants to take a picture, and I go, please just leave me. And that goes all over the country.
That's the story for the rest of their life. Richard Kind, he was so mean to me that day. And it's like they never knew. They never knew what you were thinking or feeling that day.
Exactly.
So yeah, that is the bane of celebrity existence. Is people don't know what you're really feeling when things maybe are not going right, but don't go as perfectly as their
people don't know. And this is a quote from Jeff Garlin, who used to talk about like Jerry Springer or those shows. They're shows about people that are none of my business, and all these things that happen that everybody has access to. They're none of your business, and I don't want to know them, and I don't keep up with them. Richard Kind doesn't. I used to think that Entertainment Tonight was the fastest half hour on television. Now, watching Entertainment Tonight is knitting needles in my eyes. I can't watch it. I'm repulsed by it.
Yeah, it is. It's rough on the eyes. I mean, especially now the way people consume their movie news is like they're talking about news that I heard about 6 hours ago already, or I've already posted and talked about it.
It's crazy, and I hate to say it, there's false news. We don't know the sides of the story. Like this 14-year-old girl who wants to take a selfie, and I got bad news, and I come off like a jerk.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough.
It's
a tough world.
It's a double-edged sword.
I'm going to be dead soon.
Well, Thank you for that revelation. I'm going to have to prepare myself mentally for a while now for that. One last thing before we move on from Curb Your Enthusiasm. One of the big things that came out of the show was more crazy things like, were you aware of like the murder case situation where they use an episode as evidence to prove somebody was falsely accused for a murder?
I only know that episode or what happened because I read it in the news.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Which is hilarious, but what the hell do I care?
It was just a crazy coincidence. Yeah, I wasn't sure, like, if those were any episodes you were involved in, or if you had talked to Larry or Jeff or anybody. Any reaction?
I talked to Jeff the other night, just about stuff, and I said the one episode that I really, really hated was that episode.
The Dodger Stadium.
What? No, was it the Dodger Stadium or was it a basketball?
It was a Dodger Stadium one, I think.
Oh, then maybe I'm thinking of the one where he trips Shaquille O'Neal,
oh, yeah.
and he caused something. And the thing is that Larry, although famous, portrays himself as famous. It portrays himself as the producer and writer of a famous show. Is playing an everyman. It's a fabulously wealthy and successful man in entertainment who is portrayed as an everyman. And we all have these foibles, and we're all neurotic like him, and we get on people's nerves, and that's what he imbues in that character to us. He's not always, believe me, I played golf with him a few times, I know him. He's not that guy. Of course he can be, but we can all be that guy. But when he trips Shaquille O'Neal or somebody gets hurt, I can't remember, it's like he's not the normal guy. He's changed the course of history. Something happens because of him.
Twice, almost, basically.
And I hated that. I really did. I thought that's not who I want to see. I want to see the guy who, picks up a hooker in the HOV lane.
That's who you wanted.
Yeah, that's an everyman who thinks outside, who thinks weirdly. But I don't want somebody to change the course of what goes on in the world. Does that make sense?
No, it definitely makes sense. You might have to hire somebody to kneecap Larry at some point just to slow him down somehow, some way, if that's possible. If it's possible. So, but moving on from Curb Your Enthusiasm, in 2007, during the Texas Hold'em phenomenon, you played clueless poker player Andy Andrews in The Grand, which is actually one of my favorite movies. I love that movie. Star-studded with so many people.
That can't be.
I swear to God, I watched it like nonstop when it came out. I was watching I'd rent it. I would tell friends about it. It was like, it's not that it's not a popular movie. It's just for some reason not enough people know about it, and I'm disappointed because of the cast, like Ray Romano, Woody Harrelson, you of course, and a whole slew of people. So filming that movie, and Hollywood obviously is known for having the high-end poker games, stuff like that. Were you guys like involved in like your own poker games, or do you do that on your own as well?
I did play poker, and I played poker with a lot of people who are today tremendously famous, and their stakes have gone up as tremendously as their fame and their wallet has gone up. I've always been a working actor, and my stakes have not gone up. I make a lovely living. I've got 3 kids, and I live in New York, so that's really, really tough. It's tough to eat. Nobody should live in New York, and everybody should live in New York, but it's tremendously expensive. Do I play poker? Yeah, I play poker. I used to be considered really good. What it was is that I was better than all of my friends. They then got into poker and became heads and tails better than me. And you got to understand is that when you play, are you a poker player?
Yes, I am.
So you know that it's not just your cards,
watch those
and it's
people.
not just reading people. It's using money as ammunition. That shows power. And there are people with more ammunition than I have.
That was usually my downfall.
And I got.
Oh, I'm losing you.
I don't have the ammunition. Oh, did you really? Because what I said was with the cure for cancer.
Well, we got to repeat. We got to repeat, people.
Okay, well, I don't know. What do you remember where you said you lost me?
You're talking about just the stakes real quick.
Well, what I'm saying is that the stakes have gone up, and I don't have the ammunition to play those stakes because the consequences of my losing are greater for me because my expenses are so great, and I still have pretty much the same income that I've had character actor. We don't rise and fall.
But it's steady. It's a nice steady.
Yeah, but I call myself the Costco of acting. I work a lot. I don't cost a lot. You get me in bulk, and that's what I do. It's just and you eke out a living.
Well, at least you know your limits, because that's usually the downfall of most gamblers or poker players, is they don't know their limits.
Agree.
So as long as you know your limits, that's a first.
I
good
do,
sign.
but if you know your limits, then maybe somebody across the table will see your limits. And
that's again my downfall as well. It's like I have the strategy with, like you said, watching people and the cards, but when it comes to like throwing the money down, I'm like, oh, I still got to pay your rent later.
I know exactly. Do you have children?
I don't. So we're still enjoying our first couple years of marriage, but it'll happen.
Wonderful.
So we're saving up and enjoying the time for now. But yes, the time will come. And so these some of the recreational
funny because
things.
I thought you were extremely gay. So that's so. I'm kidding.
You know, my dad thought the same thing for the first 18 years. We had to just flip the switch on. No, it's cool. No, so about the Grand. So did you guys play together at all with anybody? Like, of course, making a movie. Maybe you guys are tired of just being around cards all day, or was it something that's
No, I'll tell you a couple of things. First of all, we did. At the hotel that we were staying at, we were at and by the way, I don't know whether you know the actor Joey Slotnick, but his father, we would play in tournaments. The casinos would have tournaments, $25, $40 buy-ins, whatever it was. We did do that a lot. Now, here's my favorite story about that movie. Do you know Dennis Farina?
I'm trying to think of the name sounds familiar.
He was in the movie. Dennis Farina was in the movie. He was. Did you ever see Get Shorty?
Yes.
Not Get Shorty. I mean Midnight Express.
Yes.
He was the gangster.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at him. I see him. I remember him just being rolling around his little cart the whole time.
Yeah, he's the greatest. Now, yes, he's not with us anymore. There was no better guy in the world than Dennis Farina, and I like because I loved him very deeply. He was such a good man, such an honest man, such a good friend. And we worked together about 4 times. I was really lucky. We did a movie called Bag Boy. We did this movie. We did a great series called Luck on HBO. But it sounds like it should be great.
Mm-hmm.
The winner of the poker tournament was determined by an actual poker tournament. There was 6 people at the final table. This is all very exciting. Sounds great. It was terrible. It meant nothing. You have bad cards, you're gonna have a lousy ending. You have somebody with a lot of luck, it's no good. It's a stupid movie. So I would say we started the tournament around 7:00, and around 8:30, 8:45, 9:30, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
I have a pair of jacks. Dennis has 9-2. Well, I don't know that, but I make a bet. He goes all in. I've got a pair of jacks.
Are you sitting on the button? Are you blind? Where were you sitting?
I can't remember, but I got a pair of jacks. He doesn't have that much money, and I call. Turns over a 9-2. I have a pair of jacks.
Oof.
Well, I won the pot. So the next day I see him. I go, Dennis, what were you thinking? And he goes, I was going to meet this old chorus girl that I used to date. And I had to get out of there. I knew I was never going to win.
That's funny. I've done that before, too.
I go, Dennis, you're talking about movie history. You're going down on film for the rest of eternity. This is the grand. This is a movie. It doesn't matter whether everybody sees it. One person, they're going to see it long after you're dead, and this is what you represent. And he goes, I wanted to see her. That to me was great. That's just the greatest. So that was a good story. Ray Romano, I think that this ultimately is a testament to true talent. I know Ray. I played golf with him.
Mm-hmm.
We both have twins. He's a great, great guy. He's also tremendously talented. He really is funny. Now, this was an improvised movie, like Curb Your Enthusiasm is improvised.
Mm-hmm. So no, like hardly any script then? Just structure?
Not only, let me tell you something. There was more typed out scenario, written out than was for this 2-hour movie. Okay? I can't remember the director's name. He's a great guy. Great guy. I can't remember. Anyway, he wrote the scenario, and it was very good, but he wouldn't. There were no details like Larry put into his thing.
Mm-hmm.
Ray, in his brilliance and intelligence, made up the story and added not just jokes, but funny things, funny stories that happened to his character, and fleshed it out so fully that I think he's the best thing in the movie. And all he was somebody who was hired to play Cheryl Hines' husband.
Yeah, like he wasn't even a main character. Like he was just like
wasn't a main character.
A side plot to another side plot.
When I tell you, he wasn't even a plot. He was side. He was not plot. And I think he's the best thing in the movie. And that's what happens when you work hard and you create, and you don't just go to look, we were talking earlier about improv is inexpensive. You don't have to have a great theater. You don't have to have a set. You have a chair and 6 people, you got improv. It's cheap. But if you really work hard and try and create and write scenes, that's really hard, and that's what Ray did. We came to the set going, oh, okay, today I lose. Okay, today I don't know whether to go in. Whatever the hell was going on. Ray came to the set with an absolute story, backstory, jokes, what he was going to talk about. He worked hard. There's something to be said about working hard.
Well, it paid off. So, I mean, like I said, the movie itself it's underrated, truly criminally underrated. So I advise people to go check it out.
I think it's fun and funny, but I don't think it's criminal.
Or maybe a little exaggeration, but it's definitely worth people checking out if you have not seen it. And it was directed by Zach Penn.
Zach Penn, who is a brilliant screenwriter, brilliant creator. He's brilliant. And he had thought of something good. He was somebody who I used to play poker with. And he's a good poker player. But anyway, now did you ever see the movie Clifford?
With Martin Short, yes. It's been a while, but yes, I do remember good majority.
That's the cult favorite that I think is bizarre and weird, but deserves cult status because it's freaky. It's very, very funny.
It's just a different take on a children's book, and to have Martin Short come in and take over. I mean, like I said, I watched it. I think it was one of those I did see in the theater as a kid, but I was fully expecting like cartoon version of the book I had been reading when we got somewhere like a.
But I don't think it was based on a book. I think it's an original screenplay.
Was it? Okay. They just used the character, I guess, the character name or whatever from the because I remember they're trying to reference the big dog, red dog, whatever from that, weren't they?
It has nothing to do with Clifford the Red Dog. Nothing. Zero. Not an iota.
Well, maybe I'm thinking the wrong one.
It's like saying, is Audrey Hepburn related to Katharine Hepburn? No, it is not related at all.
Well, maybe I'm having the Mandela effect where I thought I could have sworn I saw Martin Short. I'm thinking that Martin Short, right? He's right. He's in that movie that you're talking about, the Clifford that you're talking about.
Yeah, he's brilliant. Brilliant in that movie. And Groden is ridiculously great in it. Yeah. And Mary Steenburgen.
Oh yeah, that's right.
I bet you've never spoken twice about Mary Steenburgen on your podcast, have you?
No, I believe not once. It's probably
she's one of the greats. She's an actress who cannot tell a lie. She's just great. I love her.
Well, that just it just adds to your legendary status of all these iconic roles, or at least the movies, the cult status of things that you've been in. You just keep adding to it, so you have to just have like a side thing of your IMDb for cult, the cult classics that you've been in.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
But we'll just kind of move on to the last couple of things that we got going on here. Like throughout your career, not only have you been doing things in human form, but you've been doing it in voice as well, and in animation and gaming. So I've talked to a few voice actors, and a lot of them say about the same thing about the benefits of voice acting, like being in your sweatpants and kind of having a relaxed environment. What are some other secret benefits of doing voice acting?
I can only tell you, I'm not going to say that it's, look, it ain't hard.
Yeah, I've heard that multiple times. But hey, it takes a talent. It's not
but it is. You're taking all of these emotions that are way out there, and you have to concentrate them like you're talking into a microphone right now. Imagine when you're talking to people, you're going out like that. When you're doing voice acting, you're going in. It's very specific, and it almost takes stomach muscles a little bit. And if you do 5, 6, 7 takes and you're giving all this energy, you're going, yeah, I huff and puff. There are times when I have to puff. I got to take a break. I know that something's weird is because I always burp and because the intake of air that you're using, it's a different animal. However, it's easy. It's easy. You either got it or you don't. You either got the character, you either made your decisions or you don't. And they either like it. Now, Inside Out was, I'm not going to say it was written for me, but it was written with me in mind. And when they signed off on it, and I got the role, it was like, it's literally this. Pixar calling. They want you to do a voice of the movie. Would you like to?
Of course, yes.
Yes, I would like to go down in cinema history. And I'm telling you, even the money, it doesn't matter. It's you're going down in history. The first day was the most terrifying, because if you audition for a role and you get it, somebody is patting you on the head and saying, yes, you're good, you're right, we're going to pay you money, you're going to do the role. Somebody just offers it to you. They've never heard you. They've never heard you do those words. What if your intention is completely different from what they're expecting? So you go in, it's the first page, the first take, and you do it, and they're laughing, and they love it, and they're so excited. That's the best feeling.
That's the relief. Yeah, like you're all
that is the relief.
Until then. Yeah, well, I mean, you're right, because like you said, when
you don't know,
people have that expectation once you've auditioned, so you're like, I fit what they're looking for. But if you're both in the dark, it's kind of like, I'm sure they're freaking out on the other side just as much as you were.
Absolutely. Now, when you are doing voice work, up until a month before the movie gets released, you can get fired. They're going to work on this thing for 2, 3, 4 years. Up until a month before, and they're testing it, you can get fired. It takes an hour and a half to record a movie. It just takes a short time, and then they plug it in, and then so you never know. I'm also the type, I happen to like auditions, and one reason I do is because then when I step on set, they're going, yes, we hired you, we like you. Tom McCarthy's first movie was a movie called, not The Visitor, Station Agent. And he was working across the street on Broadway in a play across the street from where I was working. And we had lunch, and he says, I want you to be in this movie that I'm in, that I wrote and directed, and I'm directing. And I go, Tom, anything you want. And he goes, yeah, this is the part. And I go, the one thing I want to do is I want to read the script. I want to read the scene out loud for you before I ever do it. And he goes, no. And I go, just take me out for coffee. Let's read the script. And we did, and he liked what I was doing. In the movie, I had to sign off on me, not just him. I really had to sign off on me. I wanted to make sure. But that's what it's all about. You want to do a good job. That's just it. You want to be, if they wrote a double, you want to hit a triple. If they wrote a triple, you want to hit a home run. In the movie Argo, that scene is ridiculously good. It's such a great screenplay, and that scene, you know the scene I'm talking about?
Which one again?
Alan Arkin. Did you see Argo?
I have seen Argo, but I'm just trying to remember which scene you're talking about.
You'll go on YouTube when we're finished. It's a scene with Alan Arkin where I play a producer, and he comes in and to get the movie.
Oh, that's right. That's right. They come to do the presentation, the pitch kind of thing.
Yeah, and I say, or I have the script. I can't remember what it was. And anyway, it's a brilliantly written scene, and that scene is a triple that I think Alan Arkin, and I'll pat myself on the back, and me. It's a home run scene. It's a great scene. It's great. Look, Alan Arkin got nominated for an Academy Award, so and Alan Arkin can do no wrong. But together, we made it a great scene. That's the best feeling in the world. That's a great, great feeling. Doing it, you know how good it is. That's a wonderful thing.
That is good because, like I said, I've heard multiple times in movie making, sometimes you just have no idea if it's going to turn out. Even if the scene is good, the way they cut it could make it look terrible.
You know what? You're right. Although I didn't know whether Inside Out would be as great as it was. I knew it was original, but I didn't know whether it would be as great. I knew A Serious Man would be fantastic.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I want to touch on too. Working with the Coen Brothers, and I'm sure they're different type of directors. They have their own pedigree in regards to these type of movies they make. So, what was that like? Getting into the standard interview questions, what was that like working with the Coen Brothers?
You want to say they're unusual, but they're not unusual like their movies are unusual.
Mm-hmm.
They're the smartest guy in the room. Oh, sure. They're the smartest guys in the room, and they are very collaborative. Truly, truly collaborative, fun. You get a sense of what they want in a scene. I really like them. I love them. I think I enjoy being in their presence, and their movies blow me away. I don't know. But I once said that I think they know like Hitchcock, they know what their movie looks like before they even start shooting.
Mm-hmm.
And they know exactly what they want. I think that they do. They storyboard it. They cut it. So I think they know what they're going to shoot so that they know what they need, in the cutting room. Yeah, they're great. I love working.
Yeah, and it's your chance to be the new John Turturro. You could be the new John Turturro in the rest of the Coen Brother movies from days on end.
I'd love it. I'd love it.
You never know.
That set. And Stuhlbarg was great. Everybody. Amy Landecker has gone on to enormous fame because of that started out with that movie. Michael has who's the guy who plays the guy who she has the affair with? I can't remember, but anyway, he's quite a career. It's great. But then you know what? I was in this show called Luck on HBO. I thought it was beyond brilliant. So did HBO at the time. And people who liked that show Luck, they didn't like it. They loved it. They loved it. And it got canceled for various reasons. Mm-hmm. They claim it's the horses. It wasn't. I
do remember reading about that. And I just
why the hell did that not go? Red Oaks, which is a special show. It just has a lovely feeling to it. It's a nice TV show. It's good and it's classy and it's beautifully directed and the acting is wonderful.
Yeah, and
Amazon doesn't advertise it, and all the power to them. But I don't understand why they don't.
I know, and then like I said, that was one of the last things I wanted to get into was like recently my wife, she started watching Red Oaks, and I kind of was walking through the room, and honestly, I saw your character on there. I was like, oh, I've seen him in so many things. I wonder what's going on here, and I watched a few, and I saw she started telling me about the premise that you play. It's 80s. You're playing Sam Myers, father David Myers, country club tennis pro teenager, and so I was like, okay, cool premise to start watching, and I just enjoyed your arc, everybody else's arc going on in the show, and like now through the second season, we binge watched it in barely a week.
And I liked the first season a lot, and then when they made the second season, I went, oh my God, it's better.
Mm-hmm.
It's I think the second season is better than the first, and I really liked the first. And then the third season, a week from today, we start shooting the third season, which is only 6 episodes.
Okay.
It's like Amazon knew that they had something good. And I'm not going to say that they dropped the ball or they knew they dropped the ball, but I think they were very gracious to say, we're not going to give you 10 episodes. We're going to give you 6 episodes, wrap it up, and just take us out. We're not going to pull the show out from under your legs.
But they want to end it gracefully, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. And you know what? What a noble and lovely thing.
Yeah, compared to the regular studios or television executives, they just pull the cord after two episodes. They don't get enough ratings.
Right, or even after 3 years, and I'm sorry, we're taking you off the air.
Mm-hmm.
I thought this is being done.
Or right before that syndication 5th season, like, oh, sorry, we're done.
Exactly.
Like, no.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I like I said, just watching the show, I kind of want to get kind of like your take, because playing a dad in the 80s, an era that I'm sure you enjoy to the fullest, and now being able to like go back and the wardrobe, maybe some of the technology. What is it like to be put back in that little era for a short time while
Yeah, you know what? I wish I could say, oh wow, it feels like we're in the 80s again. I don't necessarily. I act like a human being.
Yeah.
And I think human beings just act the way that they did. Just the words are different, or the song titles are different. It's the same thing. But I'm lucky because I've got a decent role in a show called I'm Dying Up Here. So that's big. The interesting one is I did a show called Disjointed for Netflix. I did 1 episode, but it's such a interesting show with Kathy Bates about a marijuana dispensary.
What was that one? What was that one called?
Called Disjointed.
Disjointed. Okay, and that's gonna be coming out.
Yeah. It's on Netflix. I don't know when. I don't know any of these things.
They come out whenever.
My mom used to say, "Why don't you tell me that they're on?" And I don't know that they're on. I have no idea.
She's like, I stumble upon them when you stumble upon them. That's just kind of
how it goes.
Kind of how it goes. Well, kind of last thing, what do you think about the way we consume, TV shows and movies? Like now that we can watch your show, Red Oaks, in a few days, as opposed to Spin City, we had to wait, a whole season to watch, 12, 13 episodes.
Did you ever read the book East of Eden?
Not. I've had the pleasure.
Now, I don't know whether you read.
I do, but I could expand.
East of Eden is Jacqueline Suzanne, is trash, written by a great writer. It's a fantastic, fantastic story. It's a great book. It's pulp, but literature. It's fantastic. When they made the movie with James Dean, it's the last 90 pages of the book. What TV now lets us do is strip away layers, get closer and deeper to the characters, rather than a concentrated 2-hour movie. It's so much more fulfilling. I think that TV is infinitely better than movies nowadays, because movies are, Scott Rudin, I think it was Scott Rudin once said, why can't every movie be a sequel? They're all sequels, and they really, what's going on in a lot of them, I don't care. When I finally do find out what's going on, I really don't care. Now, I love Galaxy. I love it. And I go see Logan with my, I've got a 12-year-old son. I see all this stuff. And a lot of it puts me to sleep, and a lot of it I like.
Well, a lot of it's predictable too, because we've seen the same formulas in movies. Whereas TV, you're seeing different arcs and now movie-like productions, but extended out to 10, 12 episodes in an arc.
Exactly. So you really get to see what the story and the themes are all about. Now, like I say, with these movies, I do like them, but I gotta tell you, a lot of times I don't care. They may have the music, the violins, and a little girl is going to miss her father and everything. And I swear I just don't care. And I wish I did. And I hope I'm not that you kids with your long hair and your rock and roll guy. But I do care about most of the stuff that I watch when I'm streaming.
Yeah, I think I cried watching Game of Thrones the other day, but I haven't cried in a movie in God knows how long.
No. What did you think I said?
Oh, you said you hadn't had like an emotional reaction to a movie in a little while, or to some of the movies?
Yes, I haven't. But did you see the TV show Narcos on Netflix?
Yes.
That gets me going in ways that I can't tell you. That I thought was special.
Yeah, and we were like, my wife and I watched it, we're just like, oh, as soon as we got done with the first season, it's like, when is this second season so we can just blow right through it?
Yeah, you really want to. That's something that I want to see. Some of these others, I enjoy it. I love being there. My son loves it, but I wish I liked it more. I do. I wish I liked it more, and I do like TV, and I think the complaint joke is that I hope I get in a bad car accident, but I'm not really hurt, but I'm laid up for about 2.5 months, and I can catch up on everything.
I was going to say, give you time to catch up on things. I could just get like a broken hip, a hip replacement.
I'll tell you. Do you want to know how I watched Breaking Bad?
How?
I was in a Broadway show called The Big Knife with Bobby Cannavale. I was nominated for a Tony. It was a great role. I had a great scene, about a 15-minute scene at the beginning of the play, and I had another 15-minute scene at the end of the play. In between, I had about an hour and 10 minutes. I would watch an episode of Breaking Bad at every performance. So that means I watched 8 episodes a week. The whole thing was finished, and I would watch it. And it was, every episode was 47 minutes and 29 seconds. I'm telling you, every episode.
You knew it.
47 minutes and 20 seconds. It said it right there on the disc, you know, as I was starting it. And I would watch until the 40 minutes, because the last 7 minutes of every episode was so gut-wrenching that I would go on stage thinking about Breaking Bad and not about the show. So I'd watch the first 40 minutes, go do the last scene, and then I'd come back and watch the last 7 minutes.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, how could you emotionally take that? Because I would have to watch, like, you know, Care Bears after an episode of Breaking Bad just to offset the emotions.
So I watched Breaking Bad while I was doing a Broadway play. That's what I did.
Well, maybe a little Walter White came out on you on stage. You don't even know it.
You know what? I played a heinous individual. See, Walter White is a heinous man doing heinous things, but you wouldn't know it. My guy was heinous. He was a studio chief. It was an awful man. It was great.
Well, good. Well, it's good to see you had some inspiration before the show, so you almost got in character right before the show, before going on. So, but yeah, Richard, that was pretty much everything I wanted to go over. I really appreciate you taking the time today to come on the podcast. I know we talked about some of your.
I'm glad you were so tenacious about getting me on the show. It was I wanted to do it, and you're a terrific interviewer. It was a lovely time.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And I know we talked about it earlier, but you want to tell some people like where they can find you online or follow you on your next projects that are coming out soon? Where can they find all that?
I don't know.
They can find you on Twitter.
My mother's dead. My mother's dead, so I'm not telling her. I watch Red Oaks.
Yes.
Yeah, watch Red Oaks, and I don't know. You know, I do stuff. I wish I could say I did it for everybody and could advertise and want everybody to say it. I don't give a shit.
Just keep an eye out, folks. You're going to see him somewhere. One way or another, you're going to see him or hear him.
Yeah, you'll see. Well, I'm Dying Up Here, which I hear is fantastic. Disjointed, I don't know how it is, but it's Chuck Lorre and it's Kathy Bates starring in it, so it's got to be pretty. It's got to
be solid. You guys, a good cocktail right there.
Yeah, and Red Oaks is superior.
I'm excited for Red Oaks.
It's like Flamingo Kid. It's like Flamingo Kid and Caddyshack and Graduate. It's very good.
That's a pretty solid. That's a pretty good pitch right there. Hollywood pitch to throw in right there for that. For the fourth season.
Yeah,
for the fourth season, that's what you got to say to get that fourth one. Possibly. Well, good. Well, again, Richard, I really appreciate it. Hopefully we can have you on again soon enough so we can recap on the other many things that are on your IMDb list that we can get into at some point.
I got a lot of them.
So yeah, we have plenty of material. So for everybody else, thanks for tuning into the episode of the Be Kind and Rewind podcast. For more episodes of movie news and nostalgia, subscribe, like, and follow the podcast on iTunes, Twitter, SoundCloud, Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. So thanks, and be excellent to each other.
See ya.